Hola. I started the stream actually kind of late. I was gonna start the stream at like 7:50, but I had a case of the dry mouth after I got off of the exercise bike. But here we are. Today is September the 19th, 18th, and we are going to do WWF Mind Games from September 1996. This is our watch along. The main event of this show is Shawn Michaels versus Mankind, an excellent contest. I don't remember the rest of the show, even though I watched this on tape very many times as a youngster. I was a good old fashioned 12 years old when this show happened. Very excited to watch it. I'm trying to figure out what's the future of these watch alongs when Peacock is no longer useful, because I don't know if I should keep Peacock now that the ESPN thing is going to happen. I'm willing to keep Peacock just for the library because I do watch a lot of the stuff on the library, but I don't really know if Peacock is necessary. Also, I probably need to turn this fan off because it's pretty loud. Give me a second. All right. As soon as I turn the fan off, the goddamn police siren starts screaming. So I guess that could be a discussion for another day about whether I'm going to keep Peacock or not. But keeping Peacock is probably would be mostly for watch alongs and for me to watch stray shows that I feel like watching at a time I feel like watching. We're going to start the show about 5 to 10 after. That way we'll have an opportunity to get some people in. AJ3, how you doing? Everybody else who steps in, how you guys are doing? So to set this up, of course, Shawn Michaels wins the WWF Championship in March of 1996. The roster is kind of decimated. They don't really have a whole lot of heels to work with. He's worked with Bulldog 2 months in a row, Diesel and Razor Ramon. Well, Diesel left early, even though Razor left before. I think their last show was in April of 96. Shawn wrestles Diesel in April of 96. Good Friends, Better Enemies. Excellent show. Then both of them guys are gone. And the WWF is building up Vader as the next main event threat. But they got to get Shawn to that point. So they had him wrestle Bulldog. And he wrestled Bulldog 3 times. He wrestled him twice in May because Beware the Dog, the first time, the lights went out. And then he wrestled him again. Then he wrestled again in June in King of the Ring. Those were not my favorite matches that those guys have ever had, even though the match at King of the Ring is not too bad. And after June, it was obvious that they were moving it towards the direction of Vader becoming the world champion in August. But that didn't happen for political reasons, let's say. Shawn didn't want to do the job. So Shawn still got the belt. However, if you look at the marketing and how everything is set up, the WWF was planning for Vader to be the world champion in September of 1996. This is this is In Your House season 2, episode 5. So if you go to Peacock, go to season 2, go to In Your House and go to season 2, episode 5. Yeah, Bret Hart went home after WrestleMania 13. So the roster is pretty damn thin at this point. They only got Shawn, Foley, Undertaker, Vader. Goldust is still kind of a top guy at this time. And then there's a whole lot of mid-carders. A whole lot of mid-carders. But they don't really have much in the way of main event guys. So because Shawn is not supposed to be the champion in September of 96, you got a weird match here between him and Mick Foley, which probably would not have happened if Shawn had lost. Then likely Foley would not have gotten a title match in September at all. Yes, WrestleMania 12, that was Shawn and Brett, where after Brett did the JOB for Shawn, he went on vacation. He was gone until November. Gone till November. He was gone till November. So he was still 2 months away from returning at this point. I don't think Undertaker is on this show, but I believe he wrestled Goldust in a casket match that was added to the tape version of this event. So I don't know if it's on the Peacock version. We'll see. But it was a post-show main event. I think that match also ended in like chicanery too. We'll see if it's on here or not. I know it's on the Coliseum home video tapes because I've seen it 100 times. But they didn't have much going for themselves in fall 1996. They were struggling. Steve Austin had won the King of the Ring, but he wasn't really being featured yet. Stone Cold Steve Austin had won the King of the Ring. Of course, this is due to Triple H, who was planning to win the King of the Ring. Then they did the curtain call. It screwed Shawn and Triple H because Hall and Nash left, but Triple H ended up carrying the ball. This will, of course, be a part of his long-term story for the rest of his life, that he had to eat pins for a couple of months because of his friends. Like anybody gives a shit, really. Also, it should be noted that the 1-2-3 Kid, who they spent a lot of time booking, was gone too. And at least I think he was gone by this time, or he was about to leave, one or the other. So they had spent a lot of time on guys like Razor Ramon and Diesel and the 1-2-3 Kid and Bret Hart. All these people they're not around. Mark Mero, who they had been pushing since WrestleMania, they realized, I think he might have been injured around this time, but they realized he wasn't going to work out. Matter of fact, no, he wasn't injured. I think he was either he is the Intercontinental Champion. We'll see when the show starts, but either he is the Intercontinental Champion or he's about to become the Intercontinental Champion around this time. Because he wasn't the Intercontinental Champion. No, he was at SummerSlam. He was, because he wrestled Goldust for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. So yes, he was the Intercontinental Champion around this time. He hadn't lost the belt yet. At least I don't think so. And Mr. Perfect's not gone yet. At least I don't think he is. He's not going to be around for much longer, but I don't think he's gone yet. So we're about to start this thing in about 30 seconds. So about 9 minutes after. I haven't started the show yet, so there's no timestamp to be had yet. So I'm just kind of catching people up. And I'm doing this off of memory, by the way. So if these factoids are wrong, we'll probably clear them up as we go forward. But one thing's for certain: Stone Cold Steve Austin has won the King of the Ring. Shawn is not supposed to be the champion, but he is. Vader is, I don't know. He's in the middle of some foolishness. And he's supposed to be the world champion, but he's not. Foley has fallen backwards into a main event. He's going to main event 2 shows in a row, by the way, because he's going to main event the next month, Buried Alive with The Undertaker. So it ought to be great. So let's get this thing started in a couple of seconds. And then we're going to get the show started in about, let's say 10 after. So about another 45 seconds. How about that? So that's the setup going into this show. As if you could look at the description: Savio Vega versus Justin Hart Bradshaw in a Caribbean strap match. That's the other match that they decided to highlight here. We'll see if it was any good or not. But see, 20 seconds, and then we're going to get this show started. Hopefully you guys had a great week. We're going to try to finish strong, and we'll talk about the stuff they're going to do this weekend some other time. But let's get this thing started right now. All right, WWF TV.
Behold the face of fear, the mind of madness. Behold the horror that may soon be jammed. I am afraid of what I might do, but I no longer have control of my mind. Pray that this man can stop the insanity. Pray for him. If he doesn't, have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
In the theater of the mind, the stage can be treacherous. These performers are enigmas. One is ethereal, the other bizarre. One wears the mask of deception. He exposes the hidden fears imprisoned within his opponent. Battered egos are his play. But this man fears no one. He is the shadow of death. With the stench of betrayal still hanging in the air, the mastermind of its origin may be within his grasp. Tonight, one will bow when the final curtain falls. If the eyes are the window to the soul, what horrors are locked in the basement of this man's tortured mind? Is his sanity trapped in a maze of madness, or is he a willing soldier in the realm of darkness? In the light, there is hope. A champion whose body is virile, whose will is unmatched.
His body is
In his
virile.
usual battlefield, he has achieved the highest of honors. But when war begins in the psyche and sanity struggles with lunacy, which will survive? Can the champion continue to live his dream, or will he awaken in this man's nightmare?
Woo! I love that build-up. That was excellent. I also forgot that Mick Foley is now under the charge of Paul Bearer, and how traumatic that was for me as a young man experiencing a very real heel turn. I love that. I love that so much. They were getting their shit kicked in at this point. This is September of '96. The NWO had taken place, I believe, in July of '96. So they're getting their shit kicked in pretty well at this point in time when it comes to head-to-head. All right, Mr. Perfect is still there. I figured as much. Mr. Perfect left before his feud with Triple H, and I knew that had not happened yet. But I didn't know he was still on commentary. Look at his suit. Look how big that suit jacket is on Mr. Perfect. Not only is it brown, but the button is down there near his crotch. Why is his suit jacket so big? Was Mankind Sean's Umaga Kamala? Oh yeah. I wish they had more matches. I think they had one more match on Raw that Sean won clean, but I believe that was actually either before this or after this. But they should have worked more. I wish they'd have worked like in 2005 or 6 or something like that. That would have been great too. We got our boy Justin Hawk Bradshaw here. Dutch Mantell is the manager in this situation. For those of you who don't know who Dutch Mantell is, he's the same guy from We the People. This is I believe he also managed Jacob and Eli Blue a year or so before this. Savio, I think is about to talk.
Justin Hawk, you want to be in a pay-per-view? You want to be in a WWF pay-per-view? You got it, Stinky Cowboy. Tonight, right now, you and me gotta be a front match. Tú quieres pelear con Savio Vega. Tú tienes esta lucha aquí en tu house, en tu casa, en tu cara.
What? Savio Vega is a deathmatch wrestler. Well, he was in Puerto Rico. They did a good job of covering up all of his scars he had on his head. They did a decent job of covering up all those scars. I wonder what the attendance was for this show because it looks kind of paltry. Bradshaw is big. He's gigantic, by the way. But he's also very pale. He's doing a really bad Stan Hansen gimmick here. Believe it or not, he also did an Undertaker gimmick. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but when Bradshaw was working in Japan, he actually did a gimmick. I believe it was called Death Mask or something like that, where they basically made him into an Undertaker ripoff. And it was actually pretty funny. Savio Vega was a top guy at this point in time. Even though he never won anything, he was considered, a top guy. He was kind of a top mid-carder. He was, he wasn't as over as he probably should have been, which is probably why he never won anything. I remember being a kid thinking that he was going to win the Intercontinental Championship when it was, I believe it was vacated after Ahmed Johnson got hurt, who was not here, by the way, because he got hurt. But Ahmed Johnson was, a big deal at this time. I believe Savio Vega was supposed to win the title. At least I thought he was going to. And then they gave it to Goldust, I think. But I remember being a kid thinking Savio was going to win the title because he was kind of over. I miss guys being choked. He's strangling. Harvey Whippleman, who is a manager, he's the referee here. He's very small, very tiny. Savio Vega had a rough time wrestling in those pants. And, him being portly in all events more than likely suggested the shirt. Savio Vega had a hell of a run in WWF. He never won a title, never did anything of note, but seemingly was around for and then there's Sandman who spit beer on him. And Tommy Dreamer sitting there like he's the coolest motherfucker on planet Earth. A local wrestling group here in Philadelphia. And there's Paul. Notice that Tommy Dreamer and Sandman didn't try to jump the fence until Paul grabbed them. And by that point in time, Savio and Justin Hart Bradshaw were already gone. That was very well done, though. I can't believe Vince let them do this. This match is nothing. But I can't believe Vince let them do this in the middle of a match. Maybe like during the entrance or something. They're doing the corner touches. I'm not a big fan of that, but that's how we were told that the match was supposed to end. So. You could tell this is a mid-card ass feud because I don't even know what they're feuding over. And they didn't even bother to tell us. They didn't even bother to tell you who they're feuding about. Was I repping the NWO in '96? Kind of. I was watching Nitro a lot more than we were in '95. That's for sure. I didn't have a shirt or anything like that. Yep, Downtown Bruno from Memphis Wrestling. Of course, I didn't know that at the time. Just like Dutch Mantel was also from the territory era. But I didn't know that at the time either. I was 12. I didn't know shit about that stuff. Same thing with Michael Hayes when he first showed up. I was like, man, who the hell is that guy? Let alone he was a free bird. He had sold out the goddamn Superdome in New Orleans. Big star. Savio Vega was a big star too in Puerto Rico. That's why I said he's like a deathmatch wrestler pretty much. He said the feud began with Justin Hart Bradshaw branded Savio. I don't see no brand on Savio. I can't believe he took a bump from that clothesline, though. They wouldn't have did that today. Somebody would have told him not to take a bump. That was Savio's finisher, the big heel spinning heel kick. Dennis King says he watched these guys growing up in Memphis. That's amazing. Who told Savio to wear that shirt? That shirt sucks. Yeah, the Freebirds were very young. Michael Hayes retired when he was 35. And when he showed up and he was Doc Hendricks, he looked like he was old as my dad. But he was only 35, which technically my dad would have been older than him. Hell of a clothesline there by Bradshaw. It's a lariat. He said rewatching, Top Dog said rewatching in late 97, 96 into 97 is very unique, but a good time for WWE. It was like some prototype attitude era. You can see a lot of the things that they're going to get into taking place in 96. The match style getting more aggressive and less childish was a big element. It was a big swing from 95, which was very childish. I mean, just the idea of Goldust in late 95 was kind of nutty. But this tells you how long JBL was in WWE. He debuted in 95 in the company. He was never a big deal. So we never cared. He was just kind of a guy who was there. And this match is over. Savio wins. Not convincing. Very mid-card. He continues to be undefeated in Caribbean strap matches. And no post-match beatdown for what it looks like. It looks like Bradshaw's just going to sell the loss. Not a whole lot of whipping in a whipping match. You see how the security guys are telling them not to touch the wrestlers? That was not consistent across all shows. I can tell you that much. There were times where people touched the wrestlers. Jim Cornette's running the mouth.
3 bottles of Geritol every day. He's been using his walker for parallel bars, and he went out and got some extra strength poly grip for when I knock his fingers out of his mouth. Watch out! Watch out! But I've been doing plated too. Vader has released the beast in me. Oh, wait a minute.
Are you serious?
He's so old. When he was in school, they didn't have history. He's so old. His social security number is 1. And he's so old that he's the man that taught Jonah how to fish.
I'm going to kick your butt. Oh, Lord. A Jim Cornette match. That should tell you right there we were in really bad. We were down bad at this point. The Rock hadn't debuted yet. He didn't debut until 2 months after this. But he was currently in USWA, wrestling as Flex Kavana. Oh, look at this bodysuit. Holy hell. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Look at that gear. The fake Razor and the fake Diesel. I forgot about them. Rick Bogner. There was no reason for that. That was uncalled for. And why has he got Vader's theme song? It must be cold in there because Jim Cornette's nipples is poking out through his bodysuit. This is awful, bro. Holy shit. Yeah, I love Barry Windham. I was a fan of Barry Windham when I was a kid. I remembered him as the Widowmaker. And I wasn't old enough when he came into WWF in the early 80s. Or early to mid 80s. I wasn't old enough to really recognize that. But I remembered him from WCW, and I remembered when he came over. I remember him as the Widowmaker, and I remember the new Blackjacks. They were very bad and did not get over. It sucked. It was another cowboy gimmick for JBL. It's just a different version of his cowboy gimmick. Cornette did a good job here in WWF too. They didn't give him a whole lot to do, but he got over. He did a good job here with Vader and Owen and all these guys. He probably could have done better if they'd made one of his guys world champion, namely Vader or Bulldog, but mostly Vader. And now here comes Jose Lothario, who I didn't even know he was a wrestler when I was a kid. I just thought he was an old man, you know, because Jose Lothario is extremely old at this point. But he's in great shape for an old man. He said he's wearing Vader's old tights. No, he's not. He said this match gonna set a record for cholesterol levels. Holy shit. Power Pro Wrestling. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't think Randy Hales was running USW. Was he running USWA yet at this point? Because I think he was. Because remember, he ended up buying the time slot. But I don't remember like what year Jerry Lawler ended up divesting from USWA. AJ3 says, I would love to see more of this over Seth Rollins, CM Punk, ROH style wrestling all over the place. I hope this doesn't last too long, but this is pretty silly. Look at the body on Cornette. Look at the shape of this man. He's dressed like Dr. Robotnik. I cannot believe this. This is unreal. This is unreal. Top Dog says it's crazy looking back at how bad of shape WWF was in 1996 compared to 3 years later. Arguably the coolest thing in pop culture, making millions of dollars. They were making decent money back then, but they just wasn't making a hell of a lot of money. But they were getting their ass kicked by WCW. They were not making as much money as they were a few years prior. Then that was quick. But then it needed to be. Jose Lothario looked like he aged. Like he aged 30 years and 2 months. Because when they did that angle with Sid, he came out like he was somebody's he was somebody's grandfather. But he came out like he was somebody's like great grandfather. He said Jose should have asked to borrow Sean's chaps from Survivor Series 95, the red and white candy cane ones. Oh Lord, it's Farouk. Farouk Assad. Jose was 61 here. Oh my goodness, he was old. Dennis King said Randy was always in the office in the 80s. He got it in the late 90s. Jerry Jarrett had got out. He had a successful construction business. Yeah, Jerry Jarrett sold his part of the USWA pretty early. Before it became a WWF territory. Like he was still around because again, Jerry Jarrett was around in like 92, 93 in the WWF. Like he was sending guys to the WWF. He was helping recruit. And he also was working in the office because they thought Vince was going to prison. So he was involved with all of that stuff. But he was pretty much out of wrestling at this point in time. In 96, he was pretty much done. Jerry Lawler was still running USWA, but I'm not sure if he was fully involved. Because I know Randy Hales ended up buying it and the time slot later on. Here's Pillman. Pillman debuted about a month or so before. Now, maybe 2 months before this, because he was at the King of the Ring, and King of the Ring was in June, which is 3 months before this.
Brian Pillman, you are a liar. I never ever once made any commitment to you that I was ever going to be
Philadelphia for a pay-per-view. You're a liar. As for Owen, my lovable brother Owen, you're as bad a liar as Brian Pillman. You're both liars. Don't talk to me anymore either, Owen.
I'm going to go ahead and prove that I'm an honest man. You know all those beautiful sights of Philadelphia we've all been seeing? The landmarks.
Pillman was something
the
else.
Liberty Bell.
I didn't think much
It's
of him at the time because I hadn't watched WCW that
state-of-the-art
much.
facility.
But you go back in
I
history and look at him,
represent
he's pretty cool.
less than 1/2 of 1% of this sewer.
And I love his voice,
Our
the raspiness of it.
are rolling over
It's unique.
right because of
And he had that Kurt
birthplace of
Cobain look to
freedom
him too,
has
which was great at the
become
time.
A cesspool of drug abuse, battered women, and welfare recipients.
Pillman knows about all these things.
Just take a look at the scum.
For the record, he was in ECW not too long before this, threatening to piss in the ring and shouting at Philadelphia. So that's why they sent him out here to do this.
I'm going to bring some class to this program. I'm going to bring out the King of Hearts, Slammy Award winner. In my book, the best there is, the best there was, the best of the world. Owen Hart.
As soon as I started hearing Owen's theme song, I couldn't help but smile. That's the highest honor I can give to somebody in wrestling is when I hear just the opening chords of your theme song and I start smiling. It's better. It's the best nostalgia possible.
I don't know what Fred said on. I know there's been bad blood over the years between you two. He's always resented your youth, your athleticism, but it certainly didn't help matters when you beat him at WrestleMania 10. But when Brett started facing retirement in the aisle, I thought you had made amends. You had reconciled. Well, you know, Bill, I thought everything was great between me and Brett. We kind of patched everything up last few months. Brett has started to accept.
Owen's out of breath.
The best heart. He's getting older. He's getting slower. He's not the technical wrestler he once was. And he's finally admitted that I truly have the best there is, was, and ever will be. But for Brett to come out, call not only me, but you as well a liar, that is uncalled for. And he gave us his personal guarantee. Positively. You know how I remember? He said, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, he would be right here and give a speech to all these people just about what we had talked about previously. All these losers, I might add. Well, you know, I'm a little bit confused about Brett. You know, he might be getting senile or something because
he called Brett senile.
For some reason, he's not here. Why do you think he's not here? Well, the only thing that I can think of that would keep my brother Brett away from this Philadelphia is that he's scared of me, right? No, he's not scared of you. He's not even that scared of me. He's a little scared of me. But the reason that he is scared and that fear is in his eyes is for none other reason than the 1996 King of the Ring, a man none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, it looks like
Owen Hart coming out here. Coming out here with this bullshit. And here comes Steve Austin. They hadn't changed his theme song yet.
We had hoped that Brett was going to join us. Certainly there was no problem from the Pro Wrestling Federation. Only a legend.
Just imagine how cool this is for Steve Austin. He's about to be in a segment with Brian Pillman on pay-per-view. His buddy. Pillman certainly would have been a main event guy if Austin would have had anything to do with it. Look at this menagerie in this ring right now.
You've heard our thoughts on this.
Look at the amount of talent in this ring right now.
Bret Hart wouldn't show up. Stone Cold sure as hell knew that. Bottom line is, when Stone Cold's in the house, Bret Hart's at his house because he's scared of Stone Cold, and that's the bottom line.
They did this for 2 months.
As soon as I rolled into the WWF, Bret Hart, you packed your bags and took your carcass back to Canada. Are you trying to say Bret Hart's a chicken? Bret Hart doesn't even qualify as being a chicken. He's a slimy substance that runs out of the south end of a chicken. Let me make myself clear. If you put the letter S in front of Hitman, you've had my exact
All right, I
opinion
don't
of
think
Bret
we
Hart.
have to go there. I don't think we have to go there at all.
Bret, you and me are alike in a lot of ways. You say you're the excellence of execution. I live it every day of my life.
Austin out there with something to prove, Daddy.
What these people thought. Stone Cold never gave a rat's ass about anybody.
Everything about this is shit.
And I hope you do, son. We're gonna get in this same ring, and somebody's
This is
gonna get their
pre-broken
ass
neck,
whipped,
Steve Austin.
And Austin 316 says it's gonna be your ass, and that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
Everything about this is fucking cool. Steve Austin is wearing the gold necklace that Brian Pillman gave him. And obviously they were tag team partners in WCW. And of course Owen would break Steve Austin's neck next year. Amazing. No, that's about to be painful. It's about to be painful. Brett meant it. You're a liar, Owen. Yeah, Pillman's all of Pillman's girlfriends and stuff were hot. He's kind of a ladies' man. They got this guy, man. He's been all big and soft. He out here playing with animals and shit. I think he was tremendous here. It was 96, 97. Heel Steve Austin. He was tremendous in that promo. It was really good.
What's going to happen right here? Mind game.
I love that Mankind logo. It kicks ass. Oh, it's the British Bulldog. Owen was just out there. He had to go back and then come back out with the Bulldog. Oh my goodness. You notice how Owen always got in front of Bulldog whenever they were doing like any kind of posing. Owen would always make sure he positioned himself in front of Bulldog. Shawn would do that a lot to Diesel too. That was a very cool cocky heel thing that people used to do. Something as subtle as that. Oh no, it's the Smoking Guns. Oh shit, it's the Smoking Guns with Sonny. It's late stage Smoking Guns. They're about to break up. I love the Smoking Guns theme song. It's pretty cool with the gunfire and everything. They'll never be able to do that shit today. Guns are a no-no.
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, they certainly edited the promo. They do terrible things like that on shit like this now. That intro was edited too because Goldust and Undertaker weren't supposed to be in it. Oh no! Owen and Bulldog are heels, and look at what's happening here. It's a heel program. Heel Smoking Guns were weird. It was a weird time. They graffitied all over Sonny's thing. playing into Owens' prankster nature. You got Billy is patting and just stroking her hair and all this. He's being real extra. No. I liked Smoking Guns as a kid, man. I really did. I like cowboy gimmicks. Not so much anymore. Not so much. I think my interest in cowboy gimmicks ran its course with the Blackjacks, the new Blackjacks. Thank God for James Storm, but that would be many, many years later. He brought back my faith in cowboy gimmicks. And then we got, the hang person. So he killed my faith in cowboy gimmicks again. Yeah, they didn't do a good job of making Owen and Bulldog the baby faces in this match because Owen just came out and cut a heel promo on Brett, hanging out with Steve Austin and Brian Pillman. And now Sonny is a heel for sure. Everybody loves Sonny, but she's a heel for sure. And the Smoking Guns are heels. So this is a heel program. That just should show you how thin the roster is at this time. Also, did you see that they're actually selling food without the fans having to get up and leave? They actually bringing the food to them. Imagine being in a show, they bring you food now. That was a weird sell. This is why you don't book heel versus heel stuff. Because Owen is a great babyface. But they just had him out there healing. So they can tell you that the roster is real thin. Super thin. Do I consider 96 HBK's best year? Probably. But I would have to think about like the later part of his career. But 96 was a strong year. 97 might have been a strong year too. I mean, he probably had his best matches in 96 if he had something to prove. He wanted to prove that he was a main event guy. And the crazy thing is, Billy Gunn is slim here, but he's not small. Because he's a taller guy. But he's proportionate here. He's a goddamn freak of nature now. Like, I seen him on the Maple Leaf Pro shows, like the most recent show. He looks inflated. The guy's fucking 60. And he's got muscles in his neck. And, he's bulging everywhere. You're like, what the hell? Yeah, this was probably one of Shawn's stronger years in the ring. But they had an incredibly thin roster, so they didn't have much to go with. So he probably should have lost the belt when he was supposed to. Gave him an opportunity to build up the roster again because they were very babyface heavy at this time. That was a great chop block too. It was vicious. The crazy part is I can't imagine what would have happened if Vader had won the title. Because outside of Undertaker, who would he have wrestled? They probably would have had to bring back Brett earlier. And it probably still would have been Sid at Survivor Series too. No, because he was a loser belt at Survivor Series. No, he wasn't a loser belt at Royal Rumble. So I think he probably still wouldn't end up with wrestling Sid. Ultimate Warrior came back in March. No, he came back in February or something like that, but he was gone by this time too. It was a blink and you missed it kind of gimmick. You know Vince was down bad, and he brought back the Ultimate Warrior. You know he was really down bad because he had to fire him again. And then he brought back Sid, which ended up being for the best. The only motherfucker I can think of that's as cool as the Ultimate Warrior is Sid. Fuck out about it. He said at least in 96 WWE tickets were affordable, unlike now. You could probably get in that bitch for a steal. You probably give Vince a hamburger he'll let you in about this time. He'd be happy to have you. Like, this building is small, man. There's still a lot of people in the building, but it's kind of small. Also, notice that the fucking lights are on, right? Despite the building not being very big, and despite the crowd not looking that great, and they're not reacting to everything either, but they got the fucking lights on, so everybody can see everybody. They ain't known each other their whole life. That's perfect. Come on. I can't believe Bulldog. Oh, he doing a handstand. Yeah, Bart Gunn's a big guy. What are these random scratches on my legs all about? That was not a tag, sir. This is heel Jim Ross, by the way. They decided to turn Jim Ross heel, which was very bad. It was a very bad idea. That's of course when he brought in the fake Razor and the fake Diesel. It made his commentary interesting because now he was, taking pot shots at people, but I don't like heel. I don't like the dominant heel commentator like that. I didn't like it when they did it with Michael Cole either. Thankfully, they had Vince there to sort of counteract JR being a heel commentator. Why did Bulldog fall back from the clothesline? Why did he do that? Look how animated Billy Gunn is. Top Dog says, I remember you saying that the WWE was the cheapest celebrity. It's easy to see Hogan, Savage, Roxana compared to guys like Jordan. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to accessibility, pro wrestlers have always been the easiest celebrities to get in contact with because their tickets was not as expensive, and they didn't really have an opportunity to have a super huge ego outside of Hulk Hogan. Most of them didn't have an opportunity to have like a really big ego. So they were kind of like, wow, They made stuff like when they did charity stuff more important. It made them seem larger than life. I never saw Michael Jordan or even Magic Johnson do like charity stuff. Not when I was a kid. Maybe they did. I'm pretty sure they did do that stuff, but when I was a kid, they didn't. I didn't see a lot of that. I saw it all the time with wrestlers, though. But I do the Sidewinder. That's their finish, by the way. I'm surprised nobody stole the Sidewinder. It's a great move. It's the same thing with Demolition's finisher. Like, it's a very simple finish, but it works. I understand people like stealing the Heart Attack. The Heart Attack is a great finish, too. But Demolition's finish rules, and so does the Sidewinder. It rules. I'm sure they did. Like I'm sure they did do charity stuff. I remember the Pistons doing a lot of charity stuff when I was a kid. Joe Dumars, and he still does a lot of stuff like that. Isaiah Thomas, but it wasn't. Maybe it was because it was the way the NBA was at the time, and without an ESPN or anything like that, you didn't see a whole hell of a lot of it. But obviously, celebrities, sports athletes, stuff, they did a bunch of charity things. But when it comes to wrestlers, I just feel like they were constantly doing that stuff, and it made them seem like they were just really so accessible to people. It seemed like the growth of the NBA was not about the growth of the talent yet. I mean, it was at this time because Jordan was burning up and they wanted to sell video games and shit. But growing the league was about, putting on the best games and being competitive on the court. They didn't really lean into personalities and shit like that until Allen Iverson. Like they leaned into people when they became stars, like Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. But when the league trying to make a guy a star, or they try to build an infrastructure around the guy, that will become later. That will come much, much later. The NBA spent most of the 2000s trying to make stars. What is wrong with this guy? That was the dumbest fucking finish. That was the dumbest fucking finish. Yeah, I mean, the NBA building themselves around Jordan was because of Jordan's popularity, the shoes and everything. That's when they started seeing the possibility. Now before then they had Magic and Bird. They had video games and stuff, so they knew the opportunity was there. But they tried to do it a lot more later. Like they tried to really hard with guys like Tracy McGrady and Stephon Marbury and Vince Carter. They really tried with those guys to make those guys big stars. Larry Johnson too in the '90s. The grandmama guy in the dress. That finish sucked, by the way. He grabbed him and went into the corner with Billy in it, and Billy just kind of ignored it and didn't try to stop him. Hey, Billy got down on one knee. Hey, we're the champion. Yeah, she healing on that part.
Well, you believe this? Losing the tag team championship is one thing. Being publicly berated is something else.
My favorite storylines are always people being obsessed with Sunny. She would always get one guy that would be absolutely in love with her, and then she dogged the tag team out, and he'd still be like acting like a puppy dog. And it was Billy, and then Godwin's, it was Phineas. Darren Miles says, and they found out that you can't build stars around two people. Kobe got hit with a case, and AI was a street nigga. Yeah. But what they tried to co-op street ball, and that's when they started trying to make superstars out of guys who had played a little bit of street ball. That shit didn't work either because those guys weren't winners. So they realized over time that you have to build around winners. AI was a winner, but he never became a champion. That's what they wanted him to be. That's what they needed him to be. It never happened. So, but they always liked having like clear cut guys like Grant Hill. They wanted guys like that,
See, I live to make Shawn Michaels miserable. I live to make his clique feel the pain that I've known my whole life.
This guy's fucking
Paul
amazing.
has told me that it's my destiny to hear Shawn Michaels gurgle screams. It's my destiny to hear his liver rupture.
His
It's
liver?
my destiny to hold my hand aloft of the wall.
I loved this guy when I was a kid, and I still do. Everything that was cool when I was 12 is still cool.
Have a nice day.
I didn't fully understand the Mankind gimmick, but I liked it as a kid. I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic gimmick. I still do. Sunny was amazing. That's the second team she dumped, by the way. And later, Smoking Guns would disband. The breaking up of the Smoking Guns was amazing. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they did an angle where I think Bart got knocked out or something like that. And they had Bart's wife get in the ring, and she berated Billy about, him, about Bart being hurt and all this kind of stuff. And you've done enough. It was like this really hilarious thing that they had going there. That was the end of the Smoking Guns. I didn't think it was going to do that much damage to Bart, but it killed Bart dead. Billy, well, they tried to repackage him 2 or 3 times after that. And then they repackaged him 3 or 4 more times. They tried their best with Billy, man. They wanted the best for that guy. It didn't work, though. The Rockabilly was actually embarrassing. Darren Miles loves the first version of Mankind. Me too. I think that's the best version of Mankind. They started adding a little bit too much humanity to the character, and in the Attitude Era, he was a comedy goof. I wish we'd have gotten that grittier Mankind in the later part of the 90s. Like, I understand that him being a comedy guy, it helped his relationship with The Rock, which is really the purpose of it. It kind of made him heartwarming and all that. But I wish we'd have got that grittier Mankind in the later years. This is not Mark Henry's first match. I think it might be like his second or third. Top Dog says, I wonder who are the role models for young boys in pop culture sports today. Well, there really is just LeBron. They don't try that hard with football players anymore. But LeBron is the most ubiquitous athlete in sports right now. And they're not moving on from LeBron. No way, no how. And then since the NBA is moving towards European players and foreign players, they're not going to be considered role models at all. Not in the hood. The NBA is not for niggas anymore. I shouldn't say that. The NBA is not for homies anymore. Not like it was in the 2000s. In the 2000s, the NBA was for homies. Even more so than it was in the 80s and 90s. When you had Allen Iverson and every other player had a bunch of tattoos and braids and, they were dropping rap albums. The NBA was for niggas, okay? And then they tried to clean the league up. And now it's fucking Europeans and stuff. That's why I'm surprised that the NBA is still as popular as it is. I mean, people like basketball, sure, but outside of LeBron, there really is no cultural icons coming out of the NBA for him. Not that I can put my finger on, anyway. See, I never was a basketball guy, but when somebody is a big star, they transcend the sport. And Magic Johnson was a guy that when I was a kid, he transcended basketball. Even though I was watching basketball when Magic was playing, he transcended the sport. Larry Bird kind of transcended the sport. Now he didn't become a huge star like Jordan did. Jordan basically transcended sports. That's how big a star he became. But guys like Kobe and Allen Iverson and guys like that were huge. You know, they were huge stars. But now with everybody, the way the league is put together now, it's not even cool anymore. Mainly because, the Super Friends generation, everybody wants to play together and all that kind of stuff. That stuff doesn't help. Dennis King says, as a man who grew up in Memphis, I hated WWE. Matt Lawler was basically a joke commentator. But take some solace in the understanding that Jerry Lawler was in his mid-40s at this point in time. He was way too old to be taken serious. And plus, he probably could have gotten away with being taken seriously if they'd have did it right. But he was wearing a suit jacket with a crown. Holy shit, that looked nasty. I gotta give Jerry Lawler credit for getting in there with Mark Henry at this point in time, because I'm pretty sure his life is on the line in there at this point. It's amazing he just threw the flag on this dude, man. Y'all would not be surprised to know how many black dudes are like super patriotic. That's why you keep getting stuff like this, where Mark Henry with the flag and Tyron Maysteele and Gable Steveson and even Mr. USA Tony Atlas. They love doing that to black people and just draping them in the flag. Oh my God! Oh my Lord! What was that? Oh, what was that? Yeah, the NBA used to be fun. Like when it was about dunks and fast breaks and stuff like that. Oh, that was a nasty bump. He's too old to be taking bumps like that. It's crazy. Jerry Lawler would wrestle today if he could, but he can't. But yeah, the NBA sucks now. They're very proficient players, but they don't have any charisma. It's just like European boxers. They're technically very good, but they're very boring. It's the same thing with European UFC fighters. They might be technically good, but that's the problem with sports, is that you don't control the outcome. So what you end up with is people who are really good at their job that nobody want to watch. And WWE, which is why I love pro wrestling, somebody can be technically not good at their job, but be the coolest son of a bitch on the show, and it won't matter. He still wins. He goes over. Yeah, I think Jerry Lawler had a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. And he stopped that. He had to stop wrestling. He was clubbing him across the goddamn head. He don't know how to throw a punch. He got the biggest reaction of the show so far. Oh my God. And he just dumped him down. Oh my Lord. That's no good. That was the funny thing about Carmelo Anthony's Hall of Fame induction. He told LeBron to retire because they started at the same time. He told LeBron to hang it up. Now, what is this about? It's a sensible guy. Al Snow know how to work, and so does Janetti. So putting him in people who know how to work is sensible. But these guys suck, and it's too late. He's already killed Jerry Lawler. Oh, what is this now? Look at this fucking guy. Oh, well, at least they caught him. He was so big and jolly. This shit was hilarious. And Vince was trying very, very hard here, and you can look at it. They had all the heels come out and try to jump him. He beat them all up by himself. This is amazing. His tights suck, though. Those tights are not good. He's trying to show some personality. So I give him some credit. Mark Henry was trying, man. He was trying very hard. I don't like the idea of a Charlie Kirk act. I don't like the idea of the government getting involved with the media. It's a mistake. But I do recognize where it comes from and why. But I don't like it. Just let the people fall on their own. Who cares? People don't watch the shit anyway. All this stuff about Jimmy Kimmel being kicked off because of Trump and the administration is bullshit. It's not real. Kimmel was next anyway because Colbert sucked and Kimmel sucked too. They were just looking for an excuse to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel, so they did. I mean, it is what it is. But the government doesn't have the power to fire you from your job. It's pretty wild that they announced a very live match on this show before Mankind won or lost the title match. Top Dog said, do you think UFC is suffering from the same fate as WWE and the NBA, where there are no more crossover superstars? Seems like Cena, LeBron, and McGregor were the last crossover stars to all of them. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the same thing while I was telling the story. The UFC is suffering from that same issue. All of its best fighters are boring. You know, people want to see like the Anderson Silvas and the John Joneses. Like George St. Pierre wasn't the most entertaining motherfucker in the world in terms of personality and everything, but he was a great fighter. He had exciting fights, and people thought he was cool. I don't think anybody cares about Tom Aspinall or any of these other fucking guys at UFC right now. And they just had a show recently when they talking about how boring the main event was. That happens so often with UFC now. And it's because they're trying not to control the show too much anymore. Oh, okay. I was a month early with the Cassidy match. So it was they about to have a final curtain match. They broke the casket, for God's sake. Top Dog says Cody Rhodes and Roman are big, but they're still not crossover stars, just like all the UFC fighters. I actually do agree with that statement. I don't think Roman wants to be a crossover star, though. I think he's good where he at. He probably just wants to do a couple of movies and everything, but I don't think he cares that much anymore. My brother loves early stage UFC. I do too. Like but I think the best years were like 04, 05, 06, 07. Until recently, till probably about 2018, 2019. The very first UFC shows, They're on YouTube. Like the very first tournament with Gracie and Shamrock, that's on YouTube. You can actually go find that. Just like the first Pride shows are on YouTube. I think the first 8 or 9 UFC shows are on YouTube. Goldust versus Undertaker is about to start. They didn't get Goldust entrance. Not much of it anyway. The final curtain match. I did. They gave 50 Cent the Balrog haircut. So they going hard on the look of the characters now. But 50 would have had to get back on the roids to get as big as Balrog is. And it looked like he didn't do that. So back when 50 was trying to get rich or die trying, he was on the gas. He probably should have got back on the gas. He's probably a little old to be Balrog at this point, though, to be quite honest. They probably just wanted for the star value, for the name value. This was when Undertaker was my favorite wrestler, bro. I was locked in. Man, he just walked my man down, like, and Goldust just stood there and let it happen. You notice how the crowd is actually reacting to shit now? The zombie man is out there. They like this shit. Standing leg drop. Oh my word. What a weird alliance that Goldust and Mankind thing was. It was completely unexplained. And then it went away with almost no explanation either. It was amazing. It was just two freaks. It involved with The Undertaker, and that was pretty much it. Steph Curry, I don't think he's a big enough star. I really don't. He's a great player, but I don't know if he's a superstar or anything. Oh shit. He taking these flat back bumps pretty hard. Dustin is. Ace says, mentioned in another stream that Cross will be a great Sinestro. Sinestro has a gigantic fucking head, and he's like red faced. I don't think Cross is too big to be Sinestro. Sinestro is short. He's got a gigantic head. He's got a weird color to his body. You'll have to get like a Mexican to play Sinestro. Every picture of Sinestro I've seen has looked like a crazy mustache twirling Mexican cowboy. So I would go there with that one. He said WWE doesn't have a good track record of tying up loose ends. One of my favorite storylines that happened out of nowhere, it was in '96, when Mankind became obsessed with Sunny. Not Sunny, Sable. Out of nowhere, he just became obsessed with her. Mommy! That was so funny. It came out of nowhere and it went away out of nowhere. I'm sure it had a lot to do with his alliance with Goldust, but I don't know what that shit happened. I don't know what happened to it. It just went away. it just went away. It was so funny. I believe he did that at SummerSlam. Uh-oh, Goldust about to cheat. Does he got a gold powder? They don't throw shit in people's eyes anymore. Oh boy. She got a nice little musculature to her arms. And she's smoking on TV. You can't do that. He threw glitter in his eyes. That substance, it's glitter. We saw it. We saw it was glitter. And then he had the nerve to, after he threw glitter in his eyes, to poke him in the eyes again. Also note that he wrestled Roddy Piper at WrestleMania, and then Roddy Piper is gone by this point in time. So everybody's leaving. And Mr. Perfect will be gone soon after this. I love that spot. I liked when they did it in 2020, was it 2021, with Seth Rollins was doing it, grinding the eye up against that damn corner of that stair. It's something like a mob boss would do something like that to you. It's kind of manga villain shit somebody would do. Young Terry, back when she was good. Terry sucked in the later 90s. Yeah, there's a whole lot of cool shit they used to do in wrestling that they don't do anymore. I was never a big Terry guy, but she was hot as Marlena. Once they decided to get rid of that name and just call her Terry, and she basically just did nothing. She was just another one of the girls showing her tits on the show. Oh, that was smart. They got to go to stalking him, though. I like Goldust's gear in this match. The all gold joint was pretty sweet, but the kind of snow, I call it the snow globe shits he got going on here, they're pretty sweet too. You just look how different these people look. Like, it's so striking. And if you was watching this shit on TV and you saw a guy wearing a gold jumpsuit and some guy wearing big purple gloves, you're like, what the hell is going on here? You turn on wrestling today, man, it's just a bunch of dudes in tights. You can't tell one from the other. And he's covered in glitter. He's a zombie covered in glitter because of Goldust. Thank you very much, sir. What an incredible visual. Piper had a terrible match with Jerry the King Lawler in June, and then he was gone. Tim White is our referee for this one. I love Tim White. Great referee. Very weird arm drag there. Hip toss, rather. There's a lot of trash in the Attitude Era, to be honest. He's cheating. He's clearly doing something underhanded to this man's face. And he's wearing gloves, and he got his hands around his mouth. So that's a dead giveaway. He's doing something highly illegal. They're both wearing gloves, by the way. I think AJ Styles is the only wrestler today that wears gloves. Did he kick him in the nuts? This match is no disqualification, isn't it? You know how Goldust is a weird character, but he's so big that it's actually believable that he can beat up the Undertaker. And of course, he's cheating, so that also helps. Oh my God. Crowd woke the fuck up. Here come the pure strikes. Goldust had a pretty good year in '96 too, except for that match with Razor Ramon. That match wasn't not Razor Ramon. I'm sorry. That was Vader and Razor Ramon. That wasn't good. It was, I forget who he was wrestling, but it wasn't very good. He even had a decent match with Ahmed Johnson in '96. He had a hell of a match with Shawn Michaels on a Thursday, Raw Thursday, that everybody remembers. Goldust had a really good '96. I wish he'd have won something. Instead, he lost something. Am I ready to pay $29.99 for these PLEs, man? I've already said I'm not doing it. So I'm gonna see if my old man got ESPN already or something. We'll see. But as of right now, I'm gonna be selling the high seas. Oh shit! Chokeslam from the top rope. That wasn't the finish. He didn't even go for a pin. He just snatched this dude off the top rope, didn't even bother going for a pin. But it leads to the finish though, because Tombstone is that's it. We're done here. 1, 2, and 3. Huge pop on the finish. I don't know why they called it a final curtain match. It was just a fucking match between these two guys. I thought Mankind was going to interfere too, but I'm very glad he didn't. That was pretty good, man. It wasn't long either. It was about 10, 12 minutes. And they did a lot. They didn't do too much. Anybody did a moonsault or anything like that, but they did a lot to each other in terms of fighting and cheating. And they did some pretty good shine there with Undertaker kicking Goldust's ass, and then Goldust had a pretty good comeback with cheating. Goldust is up walking around a little too soon for me, but it's all right. These shows are paced pretty better, much quicker than usual. The pacing on these shows is much better too. How they go from match to match. It takes too long to get to matches nowadays. And also, too many after match shenanigans. Too many people getting jumped after the match. Too many promos after matches. Shit like that. Now, winners, Undertaker just goes, he must pose. Taker must pose. That Period of Live match, that shit was so exciting. I might watch that shit this weekend. I love the Buried Alive match so much, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I love that fucking match. That was one of my favorite matches when I was a kid. That and the Shawn and Diesel joint. I love that match so much. Everything about Buried Alive was fucking cool. I was not expecting nobody to do a Hurricane Rana. I promise. We never got a chance to see Goldust versus Bret. They probably wrestled on Raw, but I don't remember them wrestling that much. Oh, here's Shawn.
Are moments away from the match where he faced Mankind. Mankind spoke earlier, saying that Paul Bearer is leading him to his destiny. But Sean, everybody in the clip
Shawn's
knows that
earrings.
This is your destiny, the World Wrestling Federation title.
You know, not since I won the World Wrestling Federation title have I gone out and defended this belt and been really, really nervous, you know? And the reason for that is because I feel like I can out-wrestle anybody in the World Wrestling Federation. But let's face it, I am wrestling the wackiest cat that the World Wrestling Federation has ever seen. If I could go out there and wrestle him, I'd have all the confidence in the world. But you never know where this guy's coming from. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit jittery, I'm a little bit nervous, but one way or another, our break kid's going to do what he always does, and that's find a way to get the job done. Mankind is obviously one of the most unorthodox superstars in the World Wrestling Federation history. You found out a little earlier today on Superstars.
It's Kevin Kelly.
Paul Bear
I forgot he was here.
We've seen Paul Bear.
He looked pretty normal. He looked a normal ass guy.
With the Undertaker. Now that he's on Mankind's side, this could spell more trouble for you. You know, that's really a politically correct statement. Unorthodox. That's very nice. You know, this guy is whacked as the day is long. And yeah, they got caskets. They're playing mind games with me. Believe me.
They do got caskets. They are happy. They do got caskets. There's caskets all over this bitch now.
Not a whole lot upstairs.
Caskets everywhere.
Shawn Michaels. Thank goodness, because otherwise, I'd really be in trouble. And I'm already nervous enough as it is. Mankind, Paul Bear, one way. I really don't know how. Up to this point, I'm about to walk up to the ring, and I've got no idea how it is I'm going to deal with you two. I guess I'll just think on the job, I suppose. All right.
Think
Thank
up
you
on
very
the
much,
job.
World Wrestling Federation champion Shawn Michaels.
Goldust was also part of the very first triple threat match in WWF history. Not the very first one, because they had the first one at house show, but they had the very first televised one. I believe it was Goldust, Owen, and I think Triple H. It was like the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match on Raw. It wasn't a big deal, but like that was the first one. Like I know they had triple threat matches before that, but it was like a house shows. But Goldust had a decent 96. So Brett and Goldust wrestled on Raw in 97. Okay. I thought they wrestled in 96. No, I knew they didn't wrestle in 96 because, for starters, I would have remembered it. I remember a lot of 96. But Brett was gone for most of 96, so it certainly didn't happen. Owen is teaming with Bulldog. They just won the tag team titles. He was teaming with Yoko earlier in 96, though, and that was before they sent Yoko to the fat camp. They sent Yoko to the fat camp after SummerSlam, I believe. He made his entrance in the casket, boy. This is peak. You can see the fireworks display in the ring already for Shawn's entrance. I'm starting to think Mankind should have came out second. Yeah, they did the old angle where Yoko broke the rope and then he was gone after that. He was gone for a while. I think he might have lost to Shawn on TV or something like that, but he wasn't around much longer after he broke that rope, which was it was a work for sure, but they sent him to the fat camp. I'm certainly going to watch WrestlePalooza, but how I'm going to watch is going to be a question. There might not have been a lot of people there, but the people who were there did come see Shawn Michaels, that's for sure. He got the best reaction of the entire show, including Undertaker, who usually was getting better reaction than Shawn. Look at all these women. They're ugly, but they're women of the female variety. He got a VPN in Canada right now. That Gorilla Monsoon angle was the clear. I mean, looking back at it, it was the clearest, most obvious statement that they were going with Vader as the top guy because nobody ever did anything with Gorilla. And Gorilla was talking crazy to people for years, and nobody ever did anything to him. You watch everything on Netflix. But I'm like, you're gonna watch wrestling. I already know. Yeah, man. Look, that's how I'm watching All Out. I ain't paying for that one either. I mean, it is what it is, man. These wrestling companies got hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. They'll be okay. I don't make no money off this shit, no way. You feel me? I feel bad if I was making like hundreds of dollars or something like that, but I don't. I don't feel bad at all. $500. The Motor City Machine Guns, they threw them on what's the name? They threw them on main event. The Cactus Clothesline. Daily Motion used to be sweet when it comes to watching New Japan. I never watched like any other wrestling shows on Daily Motion though, but I used to be able to watch New Japan shows on Daily Motion. Back when everybody was talking about how great Kenny Omega was. I was watching all those matches on Daily Motion. What a spot this is. Him jumping on the mat. Oh, what a great spot. Would you prefer watching highlights from the pay-per-views when they come out? I loved it when I was a kid watching highlights from the pay-per-views because most of the time I didn't get to watch the pay-per-view. So they would do a good job until I got the tape from Blockbuster. Whoa, that was a nasty spot too. Slam his head against the floor. Yeah, Mark Shapiro ain't fucking around. They're trying to juice. They're trying to get all this, the juice out of this lemon. The crazy thing about Foley matches is the amount of punishment he takes in the early part of the match. Like he just let Shawn slam his head against the floor. He ain't even been wrestling 5 minutes yet. This match and his match, he had an absolutely great match with Sting. It was I don't know, was it Beach Blast or Bash at the Beach? I don't know, man. I don't remember. But it was Foley and Sting, and I think it was like Falls Count Anywhere or something. But it was tremendous. He had a high pain threshold. Yeah, I used to be able to watch at least the main events of Wrestle Kingdom on Daily Motion. You could at least get the main events, like not even an hour after the show was over. You bought New Japan? Ooh. I have never paid for a Japanese wrestling show, whether a tape or anything. Anytime I've watched a Japanese show, it's been for free. But I paid for a lot of anime, so I owe Japan nothing. The best thing about this is when they tell you how these matches actually elevated the characters, and Shawn basically told the story of how he needed this match. You can see that. You can see Shawn getting frustrated with Foley because Foley blew a spot. So you just saw it. He ran across the ring. Come on! And Foley slapped him. Sean is something else, boy. Foley blew that spot, and Sean was pissed. But Foley, yeah, he tightened them up real quick. That was amazing. I like that. He didn't cry like Vader did. Sean's working too fast. That's the problem. Him and Bianca Belair have that same problem. They get very impatient. Bianca has a huge problem with being impatient. Not letting people sell and not letting people do things. Look at that kick in the face. Fuck. Sean is very aggressive in this match, too. Sean is not working with athletic people. He needs more Vader is, but Foley is not. Okay, Foley is Homer Simpson in a wrestling tights. Okay. Sean on some bullshit. That's what it is, brother. But he seems to be back in his pocket now. Oh my God. Oh, that leg bad. They don't do shit like this anymore either. Now you would do something like this, a guy be doing a springboard clothesline 2 seconds later. Shawn Michaels was lit during the promo. You could listen to him during the promo. You could tell he was fucked up. The fans are cheering a chop block. What's the second time they cheered a chop block? They cheered a chop block before. Ooh. How they using the casket as a weapon. Phenomenal Ace says not trying to bring up Meltzer, but I want to say he gave this match 4.75 stars, which at the time was rare for the WWF. Yeah. The interesting thing about that is I didn't know that. As a kid, I just thought the match was amazing. I still didn't know about how high this match was rated. It was just a match that you could tell was a turning point for Shawn, and it was a turning point for Foley, but it didn't matter to Foley that much because he didn't get his due for another 2 years. But in terms of for Shawn and his character and everything, this was very necessary. He's extremely aggressive in this match, and to the point of I was trying to figure out, like, is he legitimately mad at this guy? Especially when he kicked him in his head just a few minutes ago. Like, you could clearly see he was mad at him before that, and then he kicked him in the head with a bit of force, just a few minutes ago. Imagine 96 HBK versus 89 Ric Flair. Shawn would have been so frustrated because Flair wouldn't want to do all that shit, man. You have to go with like 86 Flair, like when Flair was wrestling Steamboat. Because 89 Flair probably not. Yeah, Foley smacked his ass when he Shawn was on some shit. That was a great spot. Trap kick straight to the knee. You don't see people do stuff like that anymore. Look how he's targeting the knee, and he's been targeting the knee for a while now, which is odd for a babyface to target the heel's leg like this. And that's a pretty solid Boston Crab he got on him too. Nice with torque on it and everything. Said Flair wrestled Steamboat in '89. I believe they wrestled before that too. Well, they wrestled in like the early '80s, like the '81s, '82s era. I don't want to go back that far. Yeah, because Steamboat was in WWF in '86. What the hell am I talking about? Yeah, you're right. '89. They almost pinned him. I think Mankind's knee just give out. And there's no doubt about it. I love their trilogy of matches. But he said the same thing about Barry Windham. They probably had better matches on house shows than they had on TV. And they had a 1 hour match at a house show. I think it ended up on Ric Flair's DVD. It was him and Windham for like an hour. One of the few matches that I watched that was like a full hour that held my attention. Yeah, Flair and Funk was pretty good. I enjoyed their matches together for sure. He's so smooth. Like Barry Windham was extremely smooth. When they wrestled for the world title at where they botched the finish and it looked like Wyndham got pinned in a figure four. It was something stupid. And it looked like it wasn't supposed to happen that way, but it happened anyway. And the crowd was like, yay. I forget. I think it was in 93 or 94 or something like that. Or maybe it was 92. I don't know. But it was in WCW. The one with Wyndham, I want to say, was given 5 stars by Mills, assuming you're talking about the same match. I think it probably is because the match was an hour. And that's, that's right up Meltzer's alley. But they had another match for the world title when Wyndham was the champion that was not up to their standards. It was okay, but it wasn't like up to their standards. I think Wyndham was on his way out. I don't think it was Clash. I think it was I want to say it was like a not a slamboree or a super brawl or anything like that. It was something like that. No, the match I'm talking about was in the 90s for sure. It was like Flair winning the title for like the 14th time or 13th time or some nonsense like that. It was the big gold belt. Great American Bash? Might have been. Might have been. Just look up when Barry Windham was the NWA World Champion or the big gold belt holder, and he lost the belt to Flair. But that match was not up to the standards of their usual matches. I don't remember when the event was. I watched it, like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, the one that Flair and Wyndham match, the great one, was in the 80s. The one I'm talking about was in the 90s. Beach Blast? Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Probably Beach Blast 93 or something like that. Yep. Okay. There we go. I figured that much. You don't see people slide through under people's legs anymore either. Shawn is fighting his ass off in this match. I know it's not fun punching that goddamn mask, though. I can tell you that much. I ended up in the Tree of Woe. 87 Crockett Cup, 5 stars. That is, I think, yeah, that's the one that ended up on the DVD, right? Josh Briggs versus Ricochet versus Gabe Kidd. I'd fucking cry if I have to deal with Josh Briggs and Gabe Kidd in the same match, bro. Yeah, Sean's selling now, bro. He's really doing. He was working hard. Now he's getting into the sell pocket. That was a big boot. That's probably got his leg up that high. Josh Briggs is terrible, bro. He's terrible. Oh yeah, Meltzer loved the NWA. He loved Flair, so he was giving Flair high ratings for all kinds of shit. Like I never liked Ronnie Garvin. I was never a big fan. I think he rated those matches pretty high too, and I was never a fan of Ronnie Garvin. I hate Ronnie Garvin actually. He's boring. He reminds me of Greg the Hammer Valentine. But Valentine at least had good matches with like Piper and stuff. But Ronnie Garvin, I don't like nothing he did. He rated everything from NWA pretty highly. I can't stand that shit. The suplex from the inside out, from the outside in, rather. This match did a very important thing is it made people afraid for Sean because Foley was doing nutso shit like that. He just ran his head against the ring post. And he was able to do this without blood and thumbtacks and shit. I can't believe Shawn Michaels just power slammed somebody. And they're covered in glitter. They're kicking ass and they're covered in glitter. They didn't even have the good sense to get the glitter out of the ring. You watching this match out of context, you're wondering why Shawn is shining like this. Oh my God. Huge spot of the match. Oh, and he put him in the mandible claw. Now look at this shit, man. Look at that shit. Foley loved that spot though. The spot with the cord around his neck. He loved that spot. He liked doing it all the time. He had been doing that shit for years before he did it in this match. Yeah, that's near the end though. He kicked the chair in his face. Oh, everything that happens to Foley in this match looks like it should kill you. Like he just rammed his face into that metal barricade, and he looks like he should. He should be dead. He looks like he should be dead, and he's back up. And he just punched the chair. My lord! And Sean's cheating. For God's sake, he hit the man with a chair. But you understand why, because you can't keep this motherfucker down. Nothing is stopping him. You attacked the leg, it didn't stop him. He wrapped his head in the ropes and it didn't stop him. Nothing is stopping him. He keeps coming. And now he's changing psychology. Now he's trying to stop the mandible claw hand. Now he's stomping the hand. So he went after the knee earlier, that didn't work. So now he's going to go after the hand. He's got another hand though, Sean, for Christ's sake. Look at how smart he is though. Like he was attacking the hand, but he was kicking the knee too. So he's forcing Foley to sell both things that he was working on. He didn't forget one thing and then move on to something else. Nor did they just start doing fucking spots. That's the same hand. It's the same hand. I wonder how much did they pay Foley to keep his head, like those patches in his hair, those bald spots, because they stayed there. What a bump. Yikes. That back body drop on the floor. Sean took a hell of a bump with that one. Sean is a bumping motherfucker, man. And that's the one thing that him and Foley got in common. They two bumping sons of bitches. Because Foley takes hella bumps. He about to take the cactus bump now. Mankind's offense is so weird because he virtually has no offense. Like all of his offense is him throwing his body at you. Like that's pretty much it. And then the mandible claw. That's pretty much his entire offensive repertoire, you know. Oh, a neck breaker on the floor. Hebner is he's trying to maintain control here. That's probably the most wrestling move that Foley has done in this whole match was a net breaker. And it was done on the floor. Mr. Perfect is watching this like, holy shit, what are these guys doing? What are these guys doing? Well, he's probably legitimately thinking that did Sean take all my pills? Which he probably did. The double arm DDT, that not being the finishing straight. I might have been one of the first times he'd have bust that joint out. The cactus power driver. They've been going for like 15 minutes now. And Foley is just now starting to do wrestling. He's not a moves guy. Now, what is that shit? Now he's ripping his hair out again. Oh, now he's going to get chairs. Now he's going to get a chair. They ain't throwing chairs in the ring. This is what I mean when you talk about storytelling. Mankind has tried everything that he knows now, and he's frustrated. He's pissed. So now he's gonna lose control. Does it need to be a casket match? They brought a casket for no reason. Listen to the crowd though. When they started doing this casket stuff, they got up. They're like, no, don't you put Sean in that casket. Not even going even faster. Look at this. Now Sean is in his fast break. There we go. Firing up. One punch. He went down. All right. Cross body. I think Foley was supposed to stay down for the elbow drop, but he got up anyway. Oh. The thing is, Foley talks about this match a whole lot, about how it helped him in his career. Sean talks about it a little bit. He doesn't talk about it a lot. Like, that should tell you, like, this is not even in the top 10 Shawn Michaels matches. Oh shit. Hella bump there through the table. That was everything to me as a kid. Because you couldn't tell that that's the direction they were going in. Today you could see that kind of stuff being set up. But back then you didn't really see a lot of that. And then Shawn countered it. So he went through it was Foley that went through the tape. Again, smart wrestling. They both went through the table, but Foley got countered. And now he's up again, and he's got a chair. Because nothing can stop him. He's indestructible. Now Shawn's about to pull a fucking Sabu spot, which Philadelphia should enjoy. It's not a sweet chin, it's a jump kick, for Christ's sake. It took him forever to get to this 2 count. Vader didn't even touch him, and they called for a bell. Come on, man. And he barely touched him, and he flew over the top rope. Man, Vader's too big for that. Look at how excited these people are for that goddamn disqualification. This match ended in disqualification. Paul Bearer was very light with that urn as well. It was very light with that. Oh, I see it. Did you see how far back Sid is reaching on that punch? I could duck that punch. That punch, it sucks. Look at this. And he finally got him in the mandible claw, but it's too late. I also missed the bell ringing. I know AEW does it sometimes, but that's how you know when things are good and chaotic. Is when the bell's ringing. But look at the magic that's about to happen here. This was a huge spot. I'm like, oh no. How did he get in there? Everybody's like, holy shit, where'd he come from? And they're going crazy. This is the thing about the new generation era. They do magic shit, and that's the end of the fucking show. That's the end of the show. Undertaker's teleporting. Shawn's barely alive in this ring here. He didn't lose, but he didn't win. Technically, he survived this thing. He was in a horror show. Shawn was trapped in a horror movie with freaks, and he came out okay. He probably wanted to pin him, but buried alive stuff is coming up, so he didn't get away with it. He got him later though, I think. Wow, that was something. If you want to talk about mind games, Triple H sucks. He runs from stipulation matches. This thing I did like about the new generation era, though, is they could get away with disqualifications if the match is great, because Shawn had an excellent match with Undertaker in disqualification as well. And that still was a great match. Peeled out Shawn Michaels is the GOAT. Sent the fans home happy. Shawn must pose. I can't believe Shawn fought off Vader by himself. That was weird. But that Vader, Goldust, Mankind thing, that was nuts. That was a whole nutty storyline, bro. It's freaks and sinners. And Shawn's about to get naked in the ring. Why? This is the kind of stuff that pissed off Brett right here. He didn't like that. Shawn and Brett didn't like that. Sad thing is, Mr. Perfect would have been an excellent opponent for Shawn or Brett, but he was sitting at the fucking commentary booth at his time because of his back. You know, it's Mr. Perfect didn't put his hand out. I love that he was still playing around with whether he was still wrestling or not. So he was not fully out of character. He was still Mr. Perfect. And he was always on Shawn Michaels is still in my shit. Because Shawn was still in his shit. That's it was real. Shawn borrowed a lot of stuff from Kurt Angle. I mean, everybody knows that. Including pills. Mankind being basically Freddy fucking Krueger was amazing. They bringing flowers for Shawn. Little girls kissing him on the face. That's the second woman that kissed him in the face. October 20th, somebody's gonna be buried alive. I remember that because of my homie Young Straight. That's his birthday. But I remember I ordered that show. What a tremendous pay-per-view this was. Well, at least the top two matches, they really delivered. The rest of the card, but those top two matches, they really did they did their thing. Great promo segment from Steve Austin as well. The tag team championship match wasn't bad either. It was just heel versus heel. It's kind of dumb. Nick Beer is trying to kiss Kota Ibushi. I'm gonna kiss you on the cheek. Weirdos. Has the right risen up? Getting almost 1,000 leftovers fired is impressive. No, because they're just playing. They're just using the weapons that the left has left laying around. They haven't done anything new yet. They haven't risen until they actually started doing stuff. This is basically just placating them at this point. So this is how you get the temperature back down. Is you get a bunch of people fired, and then folks chill out. They'll start feeling okay once you throw a couple of souls on the barbecue. There's gonna be fans smacking Ricochet in the back of the head, thinking they're part of the show. Smack! I brought my own oil to smack you in the back of the head. Nonsense. Nonsense. Great show. At least the top two matches, but the show was short. It was only 2 hours. A lot of foolishness underneath the main event, but still, I enjoyed it. WWF Mind Games, 1996. Very fun show. Thanks everybody for coming out. I appreciate it. We're gonna hang out for a little bit. My legs are falling asleep. Oh, what? Yeah, I love the in your houses because they were short. That's what I loved about them. That's what I really liked about the in your houses. They were very short. Thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. You guys be blessed. I'll see you guys this weekend at some point in time, probably Sunday. Peace out.